Hello, and welcome to the sixth episode of The Possibility of Poetry. My name is Jackie. I've been an English teacher for around 30 years, and I'm here to tell you that there is no magic message hiding inside of a poem that you need to find in order to understand it, that you make a poem's meaning. But, Jackie, why? Why should I even go into poetry? Why should I try to find my own meaning? Because of the possibility of poetry. We have talked about that it has the possibility of giving you hope. It has a possibility of giving you connection because other people are feeling what you're feeling. Other people can name or give an image of something that feels right in your life, something that you've always known but didn't know how to express. Remember, we've talked about the Freudian um, iceberg. So at the top, of course, is our conscious mind, the things that we know, our memories and how to pump gas and all of that. But that Freud would say a huge part of our mind is submerged underneath the icy waters. And Jung would say that unconscious communicates with our conscious through images, archetypal images, and that it's constantly communicating so that we can achieve balance, so that we can achieve harmony. That is the possibility of poetry, harmony. This week, we're going to look also at the possibility of change and the acceptance of change, the acceptance of patterns in our lives. That is another possibility of poetry, that communication. So, all connects to our tarot. Here is our tarot. It is the Wheel of Fortune, which is a major arcana. And you could say it's kind of like the circle of life, but no, we are not going Lion King here. Disney does not get to co-opt this. Instead, we're going to be doing the 1969 hit by the Lovin' Spoonfuls. Sing along. What goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, spinning around. Uh-huh. Like that. That life, that history, that community, that culture, that civilization is a big wheel that things affect each other. Things have patterns. What goes up must come down. Bum, 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 spinning wheel, spinning around. Okay, so in this, you can see right behind me the wheel, and it's got some esoteric ciphers on it. On this side, excuse me, cracking myself up. On this side, we have an Anubis kind of figure. Anubis is the god of the underworld, Egyptian. On this side, we have a snake, which represents the descent into materialism, not the ascent into spirituality, but the descent into that. So there's down. Whereas right above, this is a sphinx. You can just see the bottom half of him, her. And that represents the duality of human nature because it's the body of a lion, but the intelligence of a human. Yeah, I know. A little doubtful there. That's okay. Um, so there's the ascent, there's the descent, and it all evens out. It's all cyclical. So this connects to our views of the world, our views of history. So in a more Western European tradition, we see history as linear. It starts here, it goes along, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. We focus on individuals within that linear line. Ooh, redundant. Um, the movers and shakers, the presidents and the dictators and the generals, and how they influence the line. And then we get to the end of the line, which is progress. We are focused on that history, that our lives, that our communities should be progressive. And then we get to the end, though. And the end, of course, if we're looking at this as a lifeline, is death. Memento mori. Remember death. Even in life, there is death. And is that progress? But wait a minute. We have monotheistic religions that say there is an afterlife, there is a heaven. So, yes, it is progress. If you've done that linear cause and effect well, and you've been a good person according to whichever book you believe in, then yes, that is progress because you get an eternal reward. So, in a Asian tradition of looking at the world, of looking at history, it is cyclical. They are looking at repeating patterns, that is how history, civilization, lives move, is the repetition of patterns. So you'll see, like in Mandarin newspapers, it'll be like, oh, what happened 30 years ago with Deng Xiaoping? Ah, that's just exactly what happened with the third emperor of the Ming Dynasty. See, same patterns, revolving, going up, going down, spinning wheel. They're also more concerned about community and uh, the ripples that groups of people make in the patterns to affect that. And like our conscious and unconscious, the goal is harmony. The goal is to come to some sort of balance in the world. So this all connects with our poem today. So I want to remind you. Oh wait, I'm going to wait first. So here's the tarot, connecting to memento mori, connecting with the circle. But I also want to go back and remind you of our first tarot card, which was the Fool. And I requested that you uh, experience poetry as the Fool. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It means you're playful, spontaneous, creative, just open, open. And so I invite you to have that mindset again because our poet today, our poet is Wallace Stevens. He said, poetry resists the intelligence. Oh my goodness, that's deep. Let's hear it again. Poetry resists the intelligence. Oh my God, one more time for good measure. Poetry resists the intelligence. So Wallace Stevens himself, who was a very ironic kind of guy, I'll tell you in just a sec, invites us to supersede our intelligence, to not rush to analyzing, but to play, just to play with it. So Wallace Stevens himself was an interesting guy. He was an insurance agent in Hartford, Connecticut. He worked for the Hartford Insurance Company, and he would compose his poems, these really beautiful, deep, oh my goodness, soul confirming poems, walking to work in the Connecticut winters. You wouldn't think an insurance guy could write like this, but there it is. There's the harmony, right? The balance. All right. So I want to, before we get started, I want to remind you of some of the other poetic techniques that we've talked about that maybe would stick out for you as we read through this poem. You might find some imagery, which is just appealing to the five senses, making word pictures. You will most definitely see some repetition. I think in every single poem we've talked about, there has been repetition. And that's just like, pay attention. This is standing out. This is an important thing. We've also talked about shift, and that sometimes it's signaled by shift words, but, therefore, and then, where it's just signaling that we're going to move from one idea to another idea, one frame of mind to another frame of mind. There we go, shift. So maybe these things are going to stick out as I read this poem, and maybe not. That's okay too. But just have them in there, have them bubbling in there. Play. So here's how we do it. I read the poem, and And then we have a little pause and we kind of just let it settle. Oh, I was reading such an interesting article this morning about boredom and how important boredom is to not always have information coming in to you, but just letting things be boring. Don't think about anything. See what comes up. So that's why we have that little pause in the middle. And then I read it again. And maybe the same things are going to stick out to you. Maybe nothing sticks out to you. And that's okay too. And then we go over together and I give you some ideas. And they are just ideas. And you can accept them and they make sense to you or they don't. Everything's okay. The meaning is the meaning that you make of it. All right. So this poem is called The Emperor of Ice Cream. I want to pause there for a minute. What an image right there. When I think of an emperor, I mean this is like king squared. This is royalty. This is not somebody who was voted in. This is not a president. This is not a prime minister. This is somebody that embodies royalty, who is an executive leader. Emperor in an ice cream. Delicious. 5 favorite flavors. Oh, thinking of them right now. Chocolate, Cherry Garcia. Ooh, okay. But transitory. We eat it, it melts, but it's delicious in the moment. Hmm. Okay, let's go. Call the roller of big cigars, the muscular one, and bid him whip in kitchen cups concupiscent curds. Let the wenches dawdle in such dress as they are used to wear, and let the boys bring flowers in last month's newspapers. Let B be finale of seam. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Take from the dresser of deal, lacking the 3 glass knobs, that sheet on which she embroidered fantails once, and spread it so as to cover her face. If her horny feet protrude, they come to show how cold she is and dumb. Let the lamp affix its beam. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Okay, let's try again. Call the roller of big cigars, the muscular one, and bid him whip in kitchen cups concupiscent curds. Let the wenches dawdle in such dress as they are used to wear, and let the boys bring flowers in last month's newspapers. Let B be finale of seam. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Take from the dresser of deal, lacking the 3 glass knobs, that sheet on which she embroidered fantails once, and spread it so as to cover her face. If her horny feet protrude, they come to show how cold she is and dumb. Let the lamp affix its beam. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Okay. All right. So look at this first image. The roller of big cigars. Oh, have you ever been to like a place where they're actually rolling the cigars? And it's the smell of the tobacco and how they roll it so tight in another piece of tobacco, like a big tobacco leaf. And no smoking, by the way, no smoking. But what an olfactory experience it is, cigars. And he is a muscular one. So you know he's a skilled person, but probably a blue collar. He's a working guy. He makes things with his hands. And bid him whip in kitchen cups, concupiscent curds. Okay, here is our next poetry term, and the term is alliteration. And alliteration simply means that the beginning sounds of a series of words is the same. Kitchen, cups, concupiscent, curds. That's alliteration. Yeah. So tongue twisters are alliteration. She sells seashells by the seashore. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Is that one? That's one. And then there's one like about sailboats. I don't know. Anyway, that is alliteration. And if that means something, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. It's a fun word. Another fun word, concupiscent. Oh, listen to that one, concupiscent. It means lustful or desirous, which is interesting because it's about curds, like milk. I mean, the man's whipping up some ice cream, is what's going on, but it's sexy. It's sexy milk. Concupiscent curds. All right. All right. And then we have wenches. Let the wenches dawdle. Oh my, wench. What a beautiful word that is. Remember, we talked at the beginning about how words have different meanings, different emotional meanings. So, wench, not the level of slut, I would say, but it has in the past been used to mean prostitute. But it's definitely not a highfalutin lady, a wench. I think of a serving wench with one of those fluffy tops that expose a lot of her bosoms. And she's not in any hurry. She's dawdling. There's not a lot to do. She's dawdling. And they're not even dressed up in such dress as they are used to wear. So, all right. So here we have, I don't know, I imagine a kitchen because he's whipping in kitchen cups. So a big burly guy whipping up sexy milk to make ice cream. We've got these wenches dawdling about. And then we have boys bringing flowers in last month's newspapers. So there, that contrast. So flowers, cut flowers are usually pretty dang fresh. You're not going to give someone dead flowers unless you're goth, and that's okay too. So, so you've got the fresh flowers, but last month's newspapers. So there we have that contrast there of the new and the old. Old news. Who wants yesterday's papers? Ooh, that's a Rolling Stones song. I think it's really sexist. But anyway, okay, so there we go. And then here we have resist the intelligence. Let be finale of seem. What? What? Okay, play with it. Be finale of seem. Okay, there's pattern. Mm. But then we have our repetition. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Ah, that beautiful image of the emperor of ice cream. But then the only emperor? Um, what about the czars of Russia? What about the emperors? Kingdoms, emperors, but they mean nothing. Only the emperor of ice cream. Okay. All right. So that's our first stanza. Our first stanza is people getting together, wenches and rollers of big cigars and boys and a little sexiness maybe going on, maybe not. Romanced? Are those flowers for a romantic reason? Maybe. Oh. So here's our second stanza. And this is a shift, but this is Wallace Stevens, and he doesn't tell you. He doesn't give you one of those shift words, but there definitely is a shift. So here we go. Take from the dresser of deal lacking the three glass knobs. So deal is a kind of like cheap wood. It's like particle board or something like that. I don't know. It's not even up to IKEA standards. And it's kind of broken. It's cheap and it's broken, lacking the three glass knobs. But I do love a glass knob, just how they refract the light, refract. You know what I mean? They make rainbows. All right, glass knobs. So we're opening that drawer and take out that sheet on which she embroidered fantails once. Nice. Okay, so fantails. So like it is just that. It's the when a bird fans its tail. It's also just an embroidery pattern. So let's go back to those big cigars. So this is a very Freudian thing, and it's kind of like overanalyzing something. So a cigar, it can be a phallic symbol. Yeah, it can. But then there's this phrase that is sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. That it doesn't mean anything other than it was a cigar. And I feel that way about the fantails, maybe. Like maybe a fantail is just a fantail, Jackie. Maybe it's just a pretty piece of embroidery that she did. And spread it so as to cover her face. Okay, there we go. She's dead. Not breathing, covering her face. And if her horny feet protrude, they come to show how cold she is and dumb. So horny, of course, has sexy connotations in this day and age. You can also think of it, multiple meanings, as calloused. Looks like another working person with all these other working people. You know, um, how cold she is. So she's cold and dead, but what else is cold? Ice cream. Uh-huh. And dumb. So again, multiple meanings, but think of it also as just like not speaking. How they used to say, we don't use this phrase anymore, like deaf and dumb. Could be. And then we have let the lamp affix its beam. Okay, resisting intelligence, but it does make me think of that Edgar Allan Poe story where the narrator has is staying with the guy with the dead eye, and he would go and like open when the guy was sleeping, and he would go and open the door and then just shine the light just on that one eye, but the guy didn't know because that eye was dead. Poe's so creepy. I love him so much. All right. Anyway, okay. So let the lamp affix its beam. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Well, just as we're saying that with the lamp, okay, so there's Edgar Allan Poe, but I'm also thinking about like a stage, like a spotlight, like somebody on the stage, or I'm seeing this dead body. Maybe it's dark, and it's the one lamp that's keeping her company in her move to. Oh, there we go. There's Anubis in her move to the underworld. Hmm. There we go. So we've got these two stanzas. So we know now probably the flowers were not romantic, or maybe they were, because this is a funeral. This is a wake. These people are gathering, possibly to commemorate this woman's passage into the next part of existence. And it's change, right? Like our wheel, spinning wheel, turning around. Because they're being sexy. They got sexy milk, right? Which is how we come into this world as somebody is leaving this world. Here's our pattern. Here's our cyclical pattern of life. Memento mori. Remember death happens to all of us. Doesn't have to be so, well, it does. No, it is sad. It's sad when somebody leaves this plane, but we're not going to get out of this alive. Huh? Know what I mean? Okay. So connecting back to our tarot, connecting back to our fool, our resisting the intelligence, because some of this, I don't know what it means, and that's okay. I can enjoy it for what it is, for what I do get out of it. And I hope that you did get something out of it. And I hope you enjoyed yourself in this 20 minutes or so. And if you didn't get anything out of this poem, that's okay too. Best of luck to you. Have a great day. Take care.